It's really admin stuff we're talking about anyway today, so this is good.
Should we be seeing your screen already?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
But I only see me and Angela and Margaret on there right now.
I haven't joined yet, so I should be on in just a second.
Hi, who just joined?
Angela.
Angela, how are you?
Good.
Hey, Angela, Margaret's going to show us where we can change the doc access URL.
Yay.
Under System Properties, there's Email Notification Templates settings. And you have to change that URL in every single notification. So the most important one that people get the most is the routing notification. Mm-hmm. And so what you would do is instead of using doc access URL, you would just remove that and put the URL that you want, the direct URL.
See, we thought we could change doc access URL. Okay, that explains it.
We thought we could change that variable. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And then the other thing is, let's see, signature is important too, because
we changed that.
Okay,
we
good.
figured that one out, even though we asked you. We figured it out after the email, so
Very
we updated
good.
that one.
Very good. Excellent. I don't see here where it says call Angela at home at any time.
For
anything.
So they will gladly take us up on it, so no.
Okay, and so the signature is turned on. That's good. Now, you're going to be on single sign-on, so you don't want password stuff turned on, do you?
No.
Yeah, you ought to uncheck those.
Okay, we'll uncheck those.
And
Wait,
then,
are you showing us something, Margaret? Because
yeah.
my screen's locked up. I don't see you doing anything.
It's moving for me.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Mine's really slow.
I can see where she was
it's-
like circling it.
I bet
okay.
it's my network. Hold on.
Hey
I think I
guys,
have
just
to
quickly,
plug in.
I just want to clarify. So this is hardcore admin today. So
Yes.
something you would never want me to do. Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and drop off the call.
Okay.
Everybody have a wonderful day.
Thanks, you too.
Bye, Heather.
Bye.
Bye. Well, I think that was Maria. Heather, you're still here,
Oh.
right?
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I get to leave. And you're
I
like,
didn't
not a
even realize
chance.
Maria was on.
Well, Heather, if you have other stuff you want to do,
Oh, no, it's fine.
because you know this stuff, so that's up to you if you want to stay. Can you see it now, Steve?
Yeah, well, I'm plugging in. I was wireless. I'm going to see us plugging right into my router. It's going to make
Gotcha.
it faster.
Yeah, okay. So were there any other questions that you had, Angela, about the notifications?
No, that was it. We were just trying to figure out that whole URL, like if we could change it. We thought we could change the variable, but if we just have to go in and change it for each one, that's fine.
Yeah,
Now
you go into each one, you remove that tag totally, and you put your own URL.
And it
That
doesn't do
makes sense.
HTML, right? It's just like literally the text that you type in.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. If you wanted them to go to Google, you would type in, http://www.google.com.
Right. And that's the thing, the URL for the SSO site or way of getting in, we were trying it in test, is really long, but they'll survive.
Well, you can test it out with an anchor tag, ahref. Do you know how to do that?
No.
Well, I'll put one in here for you to test.
Right. That would be great.
So I'll do the document routing notifications. So in order for it to work, you're going to have to create a requisition or something, or not a requisition, a performance form, and route it and make sure that your email address is on that user so that you get the email.
Yeah, we're already doing that testing.
Okay. All right, good. So here is the routing notification, and we would not doc comments. That's
No.
comments. It's the doc access. So you would go a href is equal to http www.google.com, and then you also have to add in the target. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Yeah, because you're talking about email, so you want it to be a separate page. So the target is equal to underscore blank. Then you say click here or something like that, and you do the ending A tag. Or instead, because you don't really need click here, so what you could do is take this part and put it
Well, you would just enter the URL instead of click here, and then when they click on that URL, it would go.
well, I'm
through
trying
those
to get it to be a hyperlink instead of the URL. So
right, but yeah, or a hyperlink by name instead of URL.
yeah, so it's the URL that you're wanting to put in. So you would put that at the beginning.
So it's actually
Click here
right
to access
this document and take out the following URL. And then close the.
That should do it, but test it, because you do have HTML emails turned on, because the system can do just text emails or HTML emails. You have the HTML emails turned on, so I think this should do it. And then all you would have to do is take your really long URL and replace this part.
Okay.
Okay, so give that a try.
Okay.
So today is, I don't know how many more admin meetings we need. How comfortable are you guys feeling about moving around the admin tools and, looking at the different things that you need to do for performance and 360 and stuff?
Marcus and
Yeah, no.
Angela, Steve, you guys are the two main administrators, right?
Right.
How are you feeling about it?
So far we've been doing okay. We've done testing this morning, and we found our way around for the things. Like I said, we had that one question. We thought we could change the actual variable. I think we were wanting to look into the role administration.
Okay.
We want to start setting that up. That was the thing we wanted to do a more so deep dive with today.
Okay.
So we have two big topics, reporting and roles. I know, Marcus, did you guys have a chance to look through that big document, Angela, that Heather sent yesterday? Because I know Marcus said yesterday maybe you guys would want like a day or two extra to kind of go through that and then set up another meeting. Or did you guys get a chance to go through that and you want to focus on roles today instead of reporting?
I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it's whatever you all feel that you need more. As far as the roles, we actually had got that document from Margaret a while back, along with some other documents, so I had seen that one already.
And didn't we have a separate meeting set up for reporting?
No, we don't.
Okay.
So we
I'm
had
wondering,
originally felt, yeah, go ahead, Marcus.
I was just going to say, I'm wondering for the sake of testing, then if Angela and Steve have seen the document, if we could, I know we were going to, I did go through the document last night, so I'm wondering if we can maybe go through the roles today and then set up an hour for reporting later on this week.
Sure.
Yeah, sure, that'd be great.
Well, I have a question, though, on the roles, because when I sent you all those documents, your takeaway and homework was read the documents and decide, aside from the basic roles that we had set up now, did you know of any specific groups of people that you want to give special permission to? Did you guys talk about that?
Yeah, and I think I sent you an email
Oh,
with
you
an
did?
attachment.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll double check. I think I sent you an email with the attachment of what we want to set up, and if we had agreed that you would take one of those.
Oh, here we go.
Yep, take one of those, walk through setting that up for us,
Yep.
and then we would work on doing the others.
Yep, absolutely.
Hey, Margaret, can you forward that to me? This is Heather.
Sure. Okay. So you came up with about 5 new ones. Practice HRBP.
Yeah, I think it's only 4, so.
Oh, right. There's 5 rows. Okay.
Right.
Corporate HRBP, super admin. That should be there already.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll look and check and make sure, but that should be there already. And general admin. So which one do you want to do today?
Let's do the practice HR. Oh, well, Angela, you're managing this.
Yeah, I think the HRBP one is a good one.
The practice or the court?
Practice.
Okay.
This might be one where we can maybe use the copy functionality in the end to streamline it. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, so.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, let's set up this practice one from scratch, and then we can try the copy for the corp.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was thinking.
Do they both have the practice access to all practice employees? What does that mean, practice employees?
This is Whitney. I can kind of speak to this since I created it. So basically, like, the people that are listed in column B support a practice. So we refer to our different like segments in our organization as practices or corporate. So if they're in a practice, they can see anyone across the organization but not see employees that fall under their corporate department. So you'll see like HEC, like Huron Legal or HL, like how we feed those in through the employee file. So we want them to have full access to all of those employees but not have access to anyone that falls under a department or a segment under corporate.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? It looks like with corporate, then the only additional, it's just having the additional ability to see corporate. That's correct, right? All the same, except they can also see corporate. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So just a question, like when you're doing this, I think maybe when you get in, I'll understand it a little better. Is this is a group, but then like on row 5, I think, is the access that I want this group to have. You're going to set this group up with the access from like the general admin. Is that what you're walking through? Or you're just going to show us how to?
I'm going to show you how to create the group.
Yep.
Then I'm going to show you how to give the permissions to that group.
Okay, so then
And give permissions to the people for that group, give permissions to only see the people in their practice.
Okay, so then some of the permissions that like I want these people to have are captured in like that general admin function, which you'll see right there. So this group, I call them like those 2 people above in the practice or the corporate are this HRBP group. And the HRBP group, this is the ability or the functionality or the access, I guess, that we at this point want them to have in the system. So that's like I put the delete forms, build report, you know what I mean?
Okay, so I got a little confused. Do you want Laura? Oh, Laura and the HRBP group have these.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So this is just the group.
It's not even a role. It's just
a group, right? But access to all practice employees, report running, and build general admin. So
the general
does that
is captured on line 5?
Yeah. That's so. Really, this is just a group, and then the permissions are going to be given in a role. Okay, what about this one? Is this one
So she's also
just a group?
Like she's a business,
Okay.
Like Destiny and Marissa are a business partner, so they're part of the business partner group, but they need to have additional access to corporate people.
Gotcha.
That's kind of what we were talking about before.
Yeah. And super admin's already there, and the real permissions, there's going to be a couple different roles that come out of this. This is going to be a role called practice HRBP role and corporate HRBP role, and they get different permissions.
Right. That makes sense.
And one thing.
But they're also going to be. Go ahead, Erica.
Well, so go ahead, because mine is going to be another comment that what we did not include on this spreadsheet, just to confirm why we didn't include it, but something we do need to think about. So go ahead, Marcus, because you're on the same topic.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, so those will be, we'll have practice HRBP role, but we'll also have a practice HRBP group, right?
Yeah, a lot of times you need a group just for the people to say who's in it, and sometimes you need a group just for permissions as well. But we'll see. I think, you know what, I really apologize, but I have to take like a 1-minute break, and I will be right back.
3 is better, so.
I'm back. Okay. So we're going to do...
Okay, so Margaret,
Uh-huh.
can I just one other question for you. We did not include, something we talked about a couple weeks ago was the issue around calibration committee members. And you said we need to continue to think about it. We didn't add it here as a role because we weren't sure if that's where it fit. But the whole issue around the fact that the calibration team members, the participants of calibration can see the forms, so that's great. We tested that. But we still have the issue around how they can see the promotion forms on the employee profiles. And so, again, you guys talked about it, that maybe being a new role or permission. I wasn't sure how we handle that. So let's do these more straightforward examples, but I think that's something we also need to just think about, how we'll get those calibration participants access to their respective employee profiles.
Yep, that is in role-based permissioning, so we can, I think you'll see how that happens when we're in there.
Okay.
All right, because that's just part of what data that you can see about certain employees is what that is. Okay, so first thing we have to do is create a group, and you just click the Create New button, and this group is Practice HRBP, right? Is that a good name for the group?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Now, you have a list of names there, but you don't have any piece of data that ties together those people just because it's their job code or just because they're in a certain department or something, right? Or do you?
No, because they fall under, I mean, Angela, you can confirm this, they fall under HR, but other people who are not business partners, like myself.
Right, I was going to say there's other people in there
Yeah.
that will fall into that group if you pick, like, based on anything else. I think they'll just have to be chosen individually.
And they all don't have the same job code title or level.
Well, no, they probably won't
think so,
all
right?
have.
Okay. The only reason I'm bringing it up because that's a short enough list of people. It's only like 10 or 15 people. So that's fine to manage. But let's say you decided at some point in the future that you need a group that is going to be hundreds of people. Then you want to start thinking about using one of these customizable fields as a filter. If you have some piece of data in your HRIS that can tie those people together, but you don't have it set up as a filter yet, we could always set it up as a filter. You just need to open a case. Does that make sense, Angela?
It does.
Okay. So in this case, though, we're just going to use user. And can somebody just read me about 5 of the names?
So I can start, like Anne-Marie Kartsunas.
Okay.
Right there.
And then you
Jenny
just
Jaworski.
click Add Another again.
Jenny Jaworski.
Okay. Add another.
Morgan Hartigan, M-O-R-G-A-N.
Mm-hmm. It's nice that the data's in there, Angela.
Doesn't it help?
Jennifer Miller.
Jennifer.
She must be Jennifer E. Miller.
Oh, here it is.
Okay,
now you want to do all of them, or do you want me, as a homework assignment, do you want to go back and add the rest into the group later? You don't have to change the permissions. You just add more people into the group.
We can add them later. That's fine.
Okay.
Just keep moving.
So there's 4. Now, click Update. And we're not going to do it today, but let's say you did include HR as a department, but you didn't want to include certain people. You could use exclusions as well. Just pointing that out. But for now, we're going to just do names. So later on, you just go back in, edit the group, add in the other names, and then those people will have the same permissions that we set up. Okay, so now, is practice the same as department?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that we'll be able to do the permissions by saying they have access to departments. You want them to have access to all departments except
Corporate.
Right.
So I think we have to do a group for that too, because when we do the permissions, all we can do is give permissions. We have to, the target audience has to be either hierarchical or a group. So we're going to make a group called Practice HRBP's Target Audience. Practice HRBPs. Now this is just the people, not the departments. You have access to people. Oh. Target audience. So the target audience includes all employees except corporate. Group members. Sometimes you have to think about this. Title users. Multiple people pools in the same group. One pool, multiple pools. 2 different choices. I wonder if you can only include an exclusion. I never tried it that way before. So the department is corporate.
Yep.
Yeah.
All these corporate.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how many people are in your employee data file?
All the employees total?
Yeah.
We uploaded 2,232, I think.
So it looks like you have 200 people in corporate. 207. Or if, because what we're saying, yeah, right. 26 of those, right. So what we're saying here is that this group has a membership of 2,039 people, and it excludes everyone from corporate. That seems like it makes sense to me.
We actually have 304 people in corporate.
Oh yeah, I was just looking that up. Good job.
Mm.
Is there perhaps a department that doesn't have the CORP at the beginning?
Yes, you're right. So let's see. Angela, I just did a quick filter on division of corporate. Was that what I should have done in your file that you sent?
You did a quick filter on division?
For corporate, yeah, but I guess maybe I should have done by department.
Right.
Okay, sorry. So let me just pick the ones that start with corporate. But you know what? Some of the departments didn't show up in your list. Because
I was going to say, we had to, in order to get the file to work, once again, we were kind of missing some data, so we had to delete some people, but they were mostly UK people, but I don't know exactly who they were. To be perfectly honest, we didn't look through every single person, but because they were missing data, it was causing it to not pass the validation. So we just decided for now it was easier to just take them out.
Because the majority of them
Oh, you know what?
back, right?
But here's 1902, because it was, that wasn't included.
there you go. Yeah.
Right.
1906, 8, 10, 14,
Oh yeah, we just didn't go through all the pages.
15. Yeah, that's what happened. So when you do that and then you update 2000. Oh, wait a minute. Let's start over. Let's start over. Okay. Department. There's, or we could say corp, and then we probably just didn't go through all the pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's 2 pages. Okay, that's all of those. There we go. So, but you get the sense of how to, that there's this group that's going to be for the target audience, because, you know, you basically want everybody to be included except for the corporate people.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to say done on that. And I like to make sure that if I use a group for both the role and the target audience, that they're really the same name. This one could be updated to say group for role, something like that. You can name these anything you want. But we know when we go to do the permissions, we have to pick these groups. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so that was the groups. And now we go to the role. And this is going to be a new role. Now, wait a minute, let me cancel and go look at the roles again, because we actually did create an HR role based upon the hierarchy. So it might be that this role is not correct anymore. But this would be based upon the employee data file with HR data from that data feed. Are you feeding HR data in, Angela?
Yes, we're feeding the HR data in.
Okay. So what you're going to have to do is, because this role, I'll just show you the permissions. This role is based upon the hierarchy, whether it only allows you to view data about people where you're where you are that HR person. Okay, and it gives them, you know, different kinds of permissions on data and reporting and so forth for their HR reports and all levels. So you might need to come in and either delete this role or modify it.
Okay.
And this based upon the HRBP groups that we're creating now, this role might be obsolete. Do you think that with the permissions we're going to give this HRBP role, that covers HR in terms of admin and reporting and data viewability? Does that cover HR? Or do you still need the hierarchical role?
That's a good question.
You don't have to answer it right now. Just think
Okay,
about that.
I'll think about it.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to point out that there already was an HR role there, and you would need to think about it. So the new role is called Practice HRBPs. And you can come in and add a description here later. I do find descriptions helpful. So let's do the permissioning. So remember, these people, we're not going to repeat permissions that they're given to themselves as employees. We're not going to repeat that. Okay, what we're saying is that for calibration, do they get the calibration tab because they're an HRBP?
Whitney, Erica.
Yeah, I know I'm like stuttering. I would think they do, but the only reason I'm pausing is because I don't know what that opens up for them. But I mean, yes, let's give it to them because I would
just gives them the tab. It doesn't give them the admin permissions to do anything for calibration, and it doesn't tell them what sessions they can be a part of or anything. It just gives them access to the tab.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
And they're not going to create their own sessions and templates, so I don't think we have to give them the detailed permissions. Okay, so for the people that is their target audience, they're not going to need this. They're only going to need this if they're already going to have it because they have performance review access because they're an employee. So if they get routed a form from one of the people in their target group, then they would already have access to that. This is the big one right here, is because they're HRBPs for all the practice groups, do they get view access to data or do they get edit access to data?
I think what we had agreed upon is because we're feeding all that in from like the central system that we don't really want anyone to be able to change that in the system. So we were going to say view.
Okay.
The only question I'd have is like the performance, maybe the manager field, if we had to change that on the fly.
But it won't do you any good to change anything like that because, are you not going to feed manager data?
No, we are.
Yeah, then
but if
we're
like
only
someone
feeding
changes on a Monday or something.
Right, we're only planning to feed once a week. So if we needed to change and
like that week because we're
before the feed actually goes in.
Okay, but then the feed will overwrite it.
Yeah, but that'd be okay.
Yeah,
that'd
be okay.
Okay, so that would be the what's it called, performance coach, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that would be edit access for that.
What about the attachments? And Whitney, this is more a question for you. I just don't know what the process has been. Would there ever be a reason why the HRBP would need to change the feedback or promotion?
Yeah, they have in the past like deleted. Maybe like coaches attached like a wrong promotion form or attached the wrong feedback form, and they don't want that in the system. Then the admins would go in and delete that, or the business partners.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you access to everything here, but you can only see what you actually have added in the profile.
That's my question. Okay.
So if the profile configure employee files doesn't have a section called awards, then they're not going to see awards. But then if you ever decide to put awards in there, then they would see it because you've given them access to view it.
Oh, okay.
So now you need to go down here and decide which one of these does the HRBP, which one do they get to edit? And you were just talking about attachments. So do they get to edit anything else besides attachments? This is general attachments. And I think you have promotion attachments.
Yeah, that would be the only two things in that section that they could edit.
Okay. General user permission. All of these are given to them as employees, except for their target audience, will they ever have permission to create certain forms that you're not going to push out, like 360s or the feedback form or something? Do they ever get access to create a form for their target group?
I think that's another one where, like, if the functionality couldn't hurt, if they could do it, but they 90% of the time will not do that, 95% of the time.
Okay, but the one that people are going to, not the annual review, that's what I thought. And then the 360 that we're working on, would they get that?
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't, you know, our side, if we want to weigh in on that, I don't see it being harmful, but I don't think they'll ever really have to do that.
Well, you can always come back and take it away.
Okay.
So at least we talked about it, and they have those two forms. And what I'm going to do is show you, when I finish creating this role, how you can go and see all the permissions that one person has from all their combination of different roles.
No, that's really helpful.
Yeah.
Hey, can I ask a really dumb question?
No questions are dumb.
If we are probably going to change, we're probably going to change the name of the 360 multi-rater position, say optional coach step. I'm assuming it flows through once we change the name. If you pick it here, it'll still flow through that.
Yeah, you should change the name before you ever start using it. We can change it now. Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, but it'll, because you're selecting it now, it's the same form. So
it will. It'll show up correctly right here.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so these people do get reporting for their target group. I would say you probably want them to have access to all reporting, or no?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
So another question for reporting, does their access flow through, their permission access flow through to reporting capabilities? I'm assuming yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So then yes, I would think so, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you might want to think about is there any group of people, like do you have a reporting committee or something like that, that are going to be the people that actually create ad hoc reports? I mean, sometimes people don't give the create permission to everything.
I think that's kind of where, like, it has traditionally fallen to our team. Like, we have created the reports that we know they're going to use.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if they want to build a specific report to, like, something they're looking at in their practice, we would allow them to do that. But I don't think they would really ever do that.
Well, I would suggest not giving it to them right off the bat and have them ask you, and then you give it to the particular person. Until you really know what this create permission does, then, you know, I would just keep that to yourselves at first.
Okay.
And Margaret, are there performance concerns with creating ad hoc reports in production?
Are there?
I know in other systems that I've been a part of, you can create bad joins or whatever in ad hoc reports, and then it causes performance issues in production.
Mm.
Okay,
No, I haven't heard of that.
Okay, all right, good. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. There are some detailed spreadsheet reports. They're HRBPs, so I would think that you would want them to have everything else except maybe the create for now. Also, you're not doing succession planning right now, so I don't think you want to turn these on. But here's everything from this section is user permissions. Everything down below administrator permissions is all the admin links. So you said you wanted them to be able to do some admin stuff. For example, do you want them to be able to manage sessions and create their own sessions? I'm thinking you ought to leave this stuff off until you see a need for it.
Yeah, I think that could
What is
get.
that? What do you classify as a session? Manage?
It's
Is that each of the the analyst and associate group, HR group, and the analyst and associate legal group, and those are the sessions, right?
I'm going to let Heather speak to that. She knows that better for you right now.
Your calibration sessions?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what? The sessions would be any number that you have created based on the template. So are we talking specifically about what does mass create calibration sessions mean?
No, I was just trying to get a better understanding of the definition of sessions here.
Right.
I actually think I have a document that explains each one of these permissions, and it gives like a description of each one. Maybe that would be helpful for me to send you with.
Okay.
But I think, Marcus, really what we can think about is these are well, we could have up to 100 sessions because there's each individual calibration meeting basically that'll.
Right.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and they can all be.
I thought that, but I didn't want to assume. So.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think what we need to do is we're going to have to think through this when we get closer to setting these up, because this is going to be something we're going to have to be really careful about.
Right.
Because there's a lot of setup required. It might be something like the first year we do it in LMOD, and then we
Right.
start really feel more comfortable pushing it out. But it'd probably be better to start without giving access, and then
Yep.
you said, Margaret, we can always add it if we need to.
Right. Yeah, it's always, I mean, when you give somebody something, even, think of yourself. If somebody gives you something that you didn't expect and then you decide you like it, it's a lot harder to take it away from somebody once they have it. But if they don't have it and they don't know about it, then,
Right.
So.
And with calibration, I would be concerned about perhaps if there's a lot of people creating sessions, that there might be some overlap, like people in multiple sessions and those types of considerations.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I think it needs to be tightly managed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so the only other thing I see here that these people might need is, what about when you send out performance review forms? Should they be able to occasionally route them to a different step, or delete a document and recreate it, or anything like that?
That's one of the things that we had listed on there. So like if they did want to, again, they won't be responsible for this, but if they did want to do it, they would have the functionality to route a step.
Okay. So the route is route document. This way, if somebody completes a document and there's some horrible thing wrong with the form, they could reroute it to a different step.
Mm-hmm.
Also, route signature stage document, route completed documents, restore completed 360.
Like we took away the functionality for people to, never mind, I get it. Yeah, they could send it back if you wanted more feedback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you need to control deleting documents totally, because when you do that, they're gone from the system, period.
Agreed.
Change a 360 process owner. That might be. Change a participant category in a 360 from, let's say, a peer to a direct report.
Mm. I mean, I echo the same thing. Nice to have, but I don't think I'll do it.
And what about completing or declining a 360?
On behalf of somebody else, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is that on behalf of someone?
Yes.
Couldn't they technically do that by proxy enrolling into that person anyway?
Yep. Uh-huh.
Wait, they can proxy. Okay, they can proxy enroll no matter what. I missed that. Sorry. Okay.
Well, if you give them proxy permission.
Got it.
So yeah, I would not add it there because I think they do like to see what the employee sees, so we do want to give them some proxy.
Okay.
but we haven't gotten there yet, so I've been holding those comments.
Okay.
Or we might have missed it and I wasn't paying attention.
Manage system properties. I don't think there's... Yeah, I don't think...
Proxy management?
Yeah, this is proxy management for their group of people, right?
So I can't, if I'm in legal, so this is a question I have about proxy. If I'm in legal, I can't proxy into a corporate employee.
Right.
Okay.
But I need you to test it out, but these are permissions for their group of people, and we excluded corporate, but I need you to test it to make sure with your people that's the way you see it working.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure, like, proxy didn't overwrite who we were saying they could or could not see, so they could kind of circumvent these.
No, this is proxy
They
management.
put in just by, like, going into my account or something.
No.
Okay.
You're not going to be using passwords, so I don't think you need that. Is there ever a case where the employee data import file marks somebody as inactive and it's not going to be imported again for a week, but you need to make that person active again? Because, I don't know.
I mean, I think that could happen, but I don't know if I would want them to have access to do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Right. That would come back to our team.
I think
Okay.
that would be, like, yeah.
Okay.
What's the documents transfer? Would that be like if a coach change happens
Yep.
prior to our new feed?
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that being valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So really what needs to happen is, let me save this as of now. We have all the permissions, so we have the new role, we have the permissions in place. Now we have to decide for what target audience. Okay, so the target, grant this role to a group. The role goes to the practice HRBP's group for the role. And who's the target population is, again, practice HRPP's target audience. So we're giving this role to this group for this target audience, which excludes corporate. And then in this case, you might want to go ahead and exclude the granted user from having the same permission to him or herself.
So that would allow the person only to have the real employee access, so like they couldn't see their calibration form getting completed ahead of time, et cetera.
Right.
Yeah. I think that would make sense, right, guys?
Yeah, I think that should be checked if that's how it'll work.
So, and we can see now the reason we had to have a group for the target audience where we were able to exclude corporate is because we can't say everyone, because everyone would include corporate, and we can't use any of these because this is all dependent upon division, department, location. So we had to have a group for the target audience so that we could exclude corporate.
That makes sense.
Okay. So we have our name, we have our permissions, we have our target group, we save changes, we now have our new role. And what you're going to do with this new role is you're going to go put the additional people into the group. Actually, that's in the group permissions. And then you're also going to review this role and see if you can, see if you can do anything or if you need it. And here's that super admin role I was talking about. Now, the super admin role is a group of people. So you probably, let's go look at the group. But super admin has all permissions and edit access to everything. But super admin is definitely just a small group of people. There's a super admin group, and it has Dutton, Wallace. I think we talked about who belongs in here.
Right.
Now this role doesn't need, there's a group called superadmin and then there's a role called superadmin, but there doesn't need to be a target audience group because superadmin has access to everyone.
Right.
Their target audience is all.
And does the super admin have the same thing where you can exclude yourself, like seeing your own information, or no?
It's not checked.
Because I would think we'd want the same thing for our super admins, right? All of us, yeah.
Yeah. So does that give you a little bit more comfort level on how to approach the other two new roles that you need?
Yes.
And did you say we could do a copy, so like,
Yeah.
so copy and paste and just, okay, got it.
Yeah, but you can, but I would start at the beginning because
I was just going to say I don't know that I think you probably still need to kind of go through and see, even though Destiny's rights will pretty much be the same thing, just adding in corporate.
Okay.
Still, just for the
actually
sake of
it would be easy to do a copy on that because the only thing you would need to edit once you do the copy is just the target audience and change it from a group to everyone.
Yeah, that's the only thing I was thinking. Is
Yeah.
that it's exactly the same access, but you know, whichever you're more comfortable with.
I would just review this role and the permissions in there and make sure you agree with the permissions before you copy. Make sure you don't have to change anything about this and then do the copy. Okay.
Okay.
Any final questions on the roles?
So I guess we only have 5 minutes left, so there might not be enough time to talk about the calibration issue, the employee profiles for the calibration members.
Well, for that, how are you going to identify the calibration, the people who have access to calibration?
So there'll be the participants. So we could have up to 100 calibration meetings. For each meeting, we'll have a assigned group of 10 to 15 participants, and those 10 to 15 participants should see the employee profiles of the users. I'm forgetting my terms for the calibration meetings. The people you're actually calibrating.
How would how are they related to the subjects?
They're not.
And they have no hierarchical relationship at all?
No, they're not. They're more than likely not the coach or the coach's coach or anything.
Well, unfortunately, does this happen one time a year?
Yep.
Okay, so sometimes we give people a filter and in the custom columns. One of the custom columns is named form filter or data filter or something like that, or special filter. And before the calibration session for that year, you would use that filter, export the data, and put like a calibration, the word calibration in, or something like that for all the people who are going to be participants. And then filter by that filter and give the permission to see that section.
So but we'd have to name it the specific calibration, right? Because like if I'm on the corporate analyst and associate calibration group, I should only see the employee profiles for the analyst and associate in corporate.
And so is that 100 different groups then?
Yeah.
Do those groups kind of remain static? Can they be created based upon a department or something and just have 100 different departments?
No, they're
I think it's going to be a manual process for that particular one, because all it means is that you're giving certain people access to see that section for those employees. And if it's a once-a-year process, then once a year somebody's going to have to spend a few hours to create the groups and then give the access.
So would we have to create 100 groups?
Unless you can find some way to tie them together, you're going to have to create 200 groups, because you're going to have to create remember, there's who, the people, who has the role, and then who do they have the role for.
Okay.
So it's going to be 100 different groups for the role and 100 different groups for the target audience. And maybe you could split that up between a group of super admins, you know.
Right, okay. Okay, so that's good for us to noodle on. The good thing is calibrations don't happen until the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was happy when you said it was a once-a-year thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll have to.
And are they all managers, possibly?
They're all managers and above that are the participants of the people, like the people that need to have access.
Okay, well then you don't, why do you need?
It's not all managers, it's a subsection, I'm sorry.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like, they are managers and above, but it's not all managers and above.
Well, remember so if you create your filter in the employee data file to be a different filter for each department, that would make it easy, because you just choose that department instead of choosing names.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it gets complicated because it's not every manager in that department. So we can, I think we get the concept, we get the work that is related, and maybe when we get closer, I know we still have discussion on our relationship after go live with things that come up, but I think this is something we'll tackle as we get closer to it.
Well, but I think I hear that you do have a need for us to update your data models so that you do have a special filter called special filter.
I have to admit, I'm not. Does that resonate with you, Angela? I mean, I don't 100% follow that, but if Angela does, and Steve does too.
Well, I think it would only take another 5 minutes for me to explain it if you guys can stay on. Otherwise, we'll do it at the next meeting.
Everyone else may be able to. I can. I need to jump off. I have a hard stop. But as Angela, if you can stay on, that would be good.
Right. I was going to say, I can stay on so you can show me.
Okay.
Whitney, I know we have a 12. Can you jump on with Maria?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
So, Angela, all I'm talking about here is, wait, let me think. Huron. Okay. In your employee data file, this is not data that you would ever import. Okay. It's just going to be one of the custom columns that's used. Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll make it the last one, custom 15, called special filter. Now, you've noticed that in creating groups like we did earlier, you can create them easily by department or division or something like that, and these custom columns can be made into filters. So if there's data in this column, then you can use it in creating your groups.
Okay.
So you don't import it or anything. What you would do is you would export the data from the system, and then you have all of your employees. Let's go over here and put it in, let's just freeze this. Okay, so I have Mr. or Ms. Belton here, right? And here's my special filter column. And I would say, I don't know, corporate HR. Oh, this person is this filter. This person is this filter. And so on. And you just give each person the right kind of filters or for the right practice or something like that. And so, you know, it takes a little while to identify for the 2,000 people, for each employee, which filter does that employee get? And then you're able to do your target audience easy by this new filter.
Got it. So Angela, if I'm connecting this correctly, so if we have we have 10 managers that are on the Human Resources Analyst and Associate Calibration Committee. We would call the special filter Analyst and Associate HR Calibration or something like that. And then those 10 people, we would assign the special filter of that name, so that when we go to set up that role, we easily have the
target groups. The target groups.
So would we need 2 special filters then? One for the members of the committee and one for the audiences? Or actually, I'm sorry, the audiences are fine because they're by level. They would get filtered by level and by department.
Okay, cool.
Right, I was going to say, can't the audiences we deal with the fields that we have out there? We just need it for the actual
For the member, yeah,
participant.
Right. Okay. Exactly. Yep, you got it. Yep, okay.
So what I'll do is I'll set up special filter for custom 15. So here's the other important thing, Angela, is that you need to take custom 15 column and delete it from your weekly import.
Okay.
Do not import this column. And then that data won't get overwritten until the next time you decide to export the data and change the filters to a whole different set for some other purpose.
So, okay, maybe that's the part I'm missing. You're saying export it out, but how does it go back in to know what the filters are?
You do the manual import like you did the first time.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
You export out the data so you have all the current people. Right. You add your special filter data, then you import it manually, and then as long as you're not importing custom 15 column, you're never going to overwrite that data.
Okay.
So then that would be great, because then the next year or whatever, when we need to clear those people out and they get reassigned, we just do the filter and then it's all already set up for us.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, that's really great.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Well, except that throughout the years, somebody's going to figure out another reason to want to use the special filter, maybe for pushing out forms or something like that. There might be various reasons that you just overwrite your own data with other kind of data that you can use for filtering. So just save a copy of what you did before, and you should be able to easily recreate it.
Okay.
So we could do it 2 ways. One, we could do the special filter for the month or so we have calibration. Then we could re-import it with blank so that they don't have access anymore, because they shouldn't have access after the calibration meetings are done.
Right. Well, that you would probably just inactivate the roles and the groups.
Oh, okay. So we would just inactivate.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next year we would reactivate and then repopulate the spreadsheet, and then all of the process would just work.
Yeah. Well, except you're not going to have all the right data there for all the new people and so forth.
No, right. I mean, yeah, of course, we'd have to redo the spreadsheet, but I'm saying once we upload the spreadsheet, it would,
Yeah.
automatically happen. Okay, cool.
Okay, so I will go and add custom 15 special filter, and then, Angela, you have to make sure you delete that column from your import file.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
Did we record this session? I know it was really
I did. I did.
Awesome. Okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I'll send you a
All right,
link.
thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.